Okay, welcome to GeoGebra. This video is intended as a first primer to the actual program or interface program itself, but it's also intended to really get you started to do things and to think things within GeoGebra. But let's start with what you see on screen. First of all, at the top is a row of menu options, as in any program. Especially noteworthy is the view option, because here you can actually view areas that aren't on screen from the start. So there's a 3D graphics window that you can skip up if you want it, and then you close it, crossing it out, or you can view a spreadsheet. So there are all sorts of tools within GeoGebra that you may use. On the same note, all these windows can be dragged around, so I can actually drag a window to another place, so you can rearrange it any way you want. Another noteworthy thing is the options menu. You may find that you want to change the number of decimal places. It's set for 2 as a standard. I typically use 4 or 5 to avoid numbers like 0.001 to become 0, to be shown as 0. Another thing that I've changed is the font size. I've increased it to 20 points, mostly to allow people at the back of the room to be able to see clearly, but you may want to do it for clarity on your own screen as well. Another thing I've done is I've gone to, if you go into the advanced options, you actually get into the preferences dialog where you can pick any setting. So if you go to the layout, I've put the input bar at the top rather than at the bottom. And if you go to the graphics section, I have actually selected a different background color in the graphics area, just to get rid of the screaming white. Those are the adaptations that I've done to make it nice to me. You don't have to do that. You can do whatever adaptations you want to do yourself. You can always get into the different settings from the cog if you want to. Each window also has a drop-down formatting bar where you can change the appearance of things. So you can turn on axis or grid lines or whatever you want to. Or in the algebra you can sort things in different ways, for instance. The second thing that you may notice about the environment is apart from the menu options, is the toolbar. Toolbar doesn't only contain tools, it contains toolboxes. So each tool is actually an entry point to several tools. So here are the point tools, the line tools, the construction tools, the polygon tools, circle tools, conic tools, measurement tools, the symmetry tools, and some various tools, and then some action tools. And, you might call these cursor tools. Okay. There's one more thing I'd like to show you about the interface, and it's the help menu. You can get hold of manuals straight off the internet from that link, but there are also tutorials, And if you want video tutorials, just go to YouTube and search for GeoGebra. There's a GeoGebra channel with quite a lot of good stuff. There's also the GeoGebra forum where you can post questions and normally get them answered within 24 hours or so, in case you get stuck. I also want to recommend the question mark over here. This question mark gives help to the input bar. So the input bar wants commands. How do you type those commands? Well, here's a list of them. So if you want to create maybe a statistical chart, here are the different commands that you can use. So let's say you want to make a box plot, then these are the typical syntaxes that you would use. And if this isn't enough to help you, you can always click Show Online Help to get a direct link straight into the manual for the box plot command. Close this by pressing the question mark again. So that's a little bit about the interface. Now I want you to get started with it. So here's a little task for you. You've already learnt that the straight line can be modelled in different algebraic notations. So one of these ways to do it is to type y equals 2x minus 1, for instance. Okay, so that's a straight line. Now I want you to do a generic straight line. So I'm going to remove that one. So I select it and I delete it. I want you to do y equals ax plus b. It then asks you to, do you want to create sliders for the numbers a and b? Yes, we want to create sliders. So what's a slider? A slider is a point on a segment that you can drag, like that. And I'm going to go into object properties and show both the value for those numbers. Yeah. And then I want you to play with these numbers. So what happens to the line depending on what you do with the sliders? Remember that the sliders are just names for the numbers. And you can see in the algebra window what the equation looks like currently. You can also drag this from the algebra window out into the graphics window to get a clearer point of view. So what's happening? How do these numbers affect the actual graph of the line? When you do this, I'm going to ask you to do it for several different types of lines, and they all use numbers a, b. So I'm going to actually remove these between the lines. Okay, so number, you can select, click on the word number, and that will select all the numbers, and then you can just delete them, and anything that depends on the numbers, like the line, will disappear as well. So what do I want you to do? Well, here is a little text that I prepared. These are the 3 types of lines that I want you to get started with. So do the slope form, do the general form, do the intercept form, do them one at a time, and try to determine what does the numbers a and b and c, in the case of the general form, what do these numbers actually mean, and what do they do, and what do they represent in the graphic representation of the line. started.